Numerous recent studies have compared the effects of variety in mental fatigue interventions on the tactical, technical, and decision-making performance of players during the small-sided games. However, no studies have investigated the effects of mental fatigue interventions on the psychophysiological responses, time motion characteristics, and technical performances in soccer players in a single study. To the best of our knowledge, this study is the first to examine these variables in detail in youth soccer players. Therefore, the purpose of this study was to investigate the effects of mental fatigue intervention on the psychophysiological responses, time motion characteristics, and technical performances in young soccer players. Method. Players were assigned to two groups, a mental fatigue and small-sided games group, and a small-sided games group, according to the distance covered in the yo-yo test. 3 mental fatigue intervention sessions were carried out in the morning during the pre-season training period. To avoid potential negative influences, the mental fatigue intervention sessions were separated by at least 7 days. In addition, the small-sided games were separated by at least 3 days to avoid any possible negative effects of physical and physiological fatigue. Subjects. 24 young male soccer players participated in this study during the 2018 to 2019 pre-season period. All the players were members of the same young soccer team, competing in a U16 Regional Development League. Procedures. A total of 7 sessions were completed. Each participant wore an heart rate monitor and responded to psychophysiological scales such as rating of perceived exertion, the physical activity enjoyment scale, and the rating scale mental effort during their daily training routines for at least 2 years. After the yo-yo test, the players were ranked based on their aerobic fitness level, from highest to lowest, according to the distance covered to avoid having teams unbalanced in aerobic fitness level. The intervention procedure is summarized in the figure. When all players arrived at the soccer club facility, they were given a heart rate monitor to measure their heart rate and the total distance covered during all sessions. At the same time, their results on the feeling scale and Brunel mood scale were assessed in order to determine their physical fatigue and mood profile, respectively, before and after the mental fatigue intervention. All players were divided into 3 groups to complete a 30 minutes paper-colored version of the Stroop task in quiet rooms according to the same protocol as used in similar previous studies. Following the mental fatigue intervention, all players performed a 15-minute standardized warm-up, consisting of jogging and dynamic stretching with integration of soccer-specific actions. The detailed features of small-sided games are illustrated in the table. Heart rate and covered total distance were continuously measured during all the games. The RPE and 100 mm visual analog scale were also reported by players after each bout of games. The important technical actions, including pass, interception, lost ball, shot and goal, were selected for analysis and the technical analysis was performed. Results. The table and the figure demonstrate the psychophysiological responses and kinematic profiles of youth soccer players during the 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, and 4 versus 4 small-side games under the 2 conditions. All mental fatigue small-sided games formats induced significantly higher psychophysiological responses in terms of heart rate, percentage heart rate max, RPE, 100 mm visual analog scale, rating scale mental effort responses compared with small-sided games. Conversely, the physical activity enjoyment scale responses in the small-sided games were significantly higher than those in the formats of mental fatigue small-sided games. Moreover, total distances had the same effect. The table shows the technical activities of young soccer players during the 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, and 4 versus 4 small-sided games under both conditions.